Hello, my name is Beryl Shepherd and I'm a Trust volunteer. Welcome to this presentation on data protection, which we hope you will enjoy. It may leave you with more questions than answers, but hopefully you will know where to go for further guidance. It is designed so that you can read the slide and then listen to further explanation. The purpose of this presentation is to identify the pitfalls and possible advantages of understanding data protection, hopefully without causing anyone to go into panic mode. Whilst it should help with the overall guidance as to how data protection laws affect the U3A, it is a huge subject and it is not possible to include everything. The GDPR document alone is 385 pages long, and the Data Protection Act 2018 is another 340, although some of it doesn't apply to small organisations. If you are not sure, not to worry, you will find them on the next slide. These are the 6 principles, and we will expand just a little on what is on the slide. The lawful basis for obtaining member information is due to the contractual relationship that the U3A has with the individual members. Lawfulness, fairness and transparency means you must obtain the data lawfully. The member must be aware of what use your U3A is going to make of the data, and it must only be used for that purpose, and that purpose must be specific, explicit and legitimate. Data must not be used to send out inappropriate communications. To minimise the amount of data collected, it must be adequate, relevant and necessary. Stored data should be accurate and up to date and be retained only as long as necessary. Integrity and confidentiality requires your U3A to handle personal data in a manner that ensures appropriate security, which would include protection against unlawful processing or accidental loss. The data protection rules require your U3A to have documented all your policies that govern your collection and processing of data. These include data protection, privacy, website, cookie, and legitimate interest policy, ICE, where appropriate. This list is not exhaustive, but covers most of the data that U3As are likely to collect. An IP address, or to give it its full name, Internet Protocol Address, is a numerical label assigned to each device connected to a computer network that uses Internet Protocol for communication. It doesn't identify the user, only the device. Usually the membership form will include a question about photographs, but if it doesn't, you still need to ask the question and get a response, preferably in writing. Copyright is not part of this workshop and is a whole new ballgame, but suffice to say that in general terms, photos you take yourself belong to you. All U3As will have a data controller, which in most cases will be the committee. The number of data processors will depend on how your U3A is run, but there will be some. Accountability is often thought of as the seventh principle and should include what happens to data held by someone who no longer has a need. The National Office will inform local U3As of any changes or updates to the legislation. Trustees' induction should include data protection accountability. A model policy is available from the Trust website and guidance can be sought from the National Office. Data breaches, if not too serious, should be recorded in the committee minutes together with the action being taken. Otherwise, report to National Office and the Information Commissioner's Office, ICO. Members have a right to have access to the data being held, and any request is known as SAR, Subject Access Request, and a member can ask not only what data your U3A is holding, but what they do with it and where they got it from. Any request should be dealt with in a timely manner and be free of charge. They do have the right to ask for their data to be transferred electronically, data portability, to a place of their choice. They also have the right to ask for incorrect information to be corrected. Everyone has a right to have their data deleted. This is known as the right of erasure, commonly called the right to be forgotten. They do not have to give a reason. Members should know if they are giving consent to the use of their data. This is usually included on the membership form or terms of membership or maybe gift aid consent form. You can only object to your personal data being used in some circumstances. These would include marketing purposes or scientific research. Think of privacy in terms of how you would feel if it were your data. If in doubt, check it out. This can be done by your group leader, chairman, local network, regional trustee, or the national office, or any combination. It matters because it's something you could all think about and discuss with your fellow members and trustees. The reasons given can be used to reinforce the data protection message. If you have watched the video on governance, you will know that having these policies in place is good practice. A privacy policy is a must, and there is further information on the next slide. It should specify which data your U3A will collect, where from, and how it will use it. It should also include information about the rights that are available under the data protection regulations. Your U3A should also be able to declare which methods they use to safeguard personal data. Your U3A may wish to put some of this information into a separate data protection policy and maybe have a policy for the website and cookies. All information must be concise, transparent, and written in a clear, plain language. COVID-19 policy will hopefully only be relevant for a limited period, but if it is necessary to collect data under this heading, it should be the very minimum required: name, phone number, or email address. This is required under the COVID-19 track and trace system and should be held for 21 days. It might be wise to have a blind copying only rule, but make sure that anyone who may need to know does know how to blind copy. Not everyone does. Make sure your U3A has the member's permission to publish data, for example, a name or phone number in a newsletter or on the website. Members should not give out other members' information unless they have their permission. It is sometimes appropriate to hold other information, such as health, including the reason why it is thought necessary, but should not be done without the express authority or request of the member. Third-party processing would include TAM, gift aid, and possibly any membership software such as Beacon. There is information on the website about the Beacon data protection policy. Whichever policy you choose to put this information in, it must be included somewhere. At a glance is really just a recap of what we have discussed so far. When discussing these scenarios, it might help if you were to consider if the first two breaches need to be reported to the ICO or to the National Office, and if not, what action would you take? Also, can a member refuse to give the relationship to their emergency contact number or even a NICE number at all? The easygoing relationship that exists within your U3A does mean that breaches can happen by accident, so it is important that everyone is aware of the do's and don'ts. Reminds me of the Rudyard Kipling poem, I Keep Six Honest Serving Men. For those who aren't familiar with the poem, it goes on to say, they taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. A data protection person is not responsible for data protection per se. All trustees are responsible for what the others do, unless it has been agreed that the data protection officer is the data controller. Having data protection on the committee agenda gives an opportunity to identify any potential problems. Policies should be reviewed on a regular basis. When to carry out data audits and security reviews may be included in your policies, but in any case, they should be carried out on an ongoing basis. These are the main ones, but you may have others. Remember, all personal data, however held, is covered by the legislation. Wherever and on whatever data is stored, these are the main considerations to bear in mind. The person in charge of an outdoor activity will need some means of reaching a member's emergency contact. This could be a paper list, or if your U3A uses Beacon, it may be possible to access details via your smartphone. It is good practice for all group leaders to have a deputy just in case, and such a person can be useful in many other ways. Interest Groups Matter video has something to say on the matter. Paid tutors, whilst frowned upon, do exist, and they should only have the contact details for the group leader or their deputy, and not the whole class. These are the main areas that are recommended, but there may be more. These are the best places to seek guidance and to find the help that is available. Don't forget, there are e-workshops on other topics that can be downloaded from the Trust website. Thank you for watching. We hope you feel more informed and now find GDPR not quite so scary as you did before. And remember that we welcome feedback.